Good evening, students. Simi, namaste. Am I audible? Good evening, Gargi. Karishma, Bipin. Harshita, hi. Chanu, good evening. Now, everyone tell me who are India's small neighbors? Small neighboring countries of India. Tell me the names. Yasari, VL, good evening. Nepal. Bhutan, good. Myanmar, Bangladesh. Sri Lanka, good. Can we count Pakistan in it? Let's keep Pakistan aside. Can you pick an odd one out of this particular list? Yeah, even Maldives for that matter, good. Now, if I tell you Bhutan is odd one out in this list, would you agree to me? And why am I saying Bhutan is odd one out? Because India-Bhutan relations are very strong. They are very stable. They are very friendly. All of you agree with it? So much so that all of the India's neighboring countries are part of BRI. Can you name one exception? Belt and Road Initiative of China, all of India's neighbors are part of it, except one country. Which country isn't a part of BRI? Bhutan. श्रीलंका is a part of BRI. Thambon Tota Port कहाँ से बना? So in this regard, let us try to understand why is India-Bhutan relationship so special? What makes Bhutan stand out from other countries? All of you like IR, right? Is there anyone who doesn't like IR, international relations? Why so slow, everyone? Hello, Shaktiraj. Is there anyone who doesn't like IR? Very interesting. Now, you know the problem that most students face when they are trying to prepare for IR? People try to make it very factual. So whenever any country or a question on any country appears, they try to remember the facts with respect to that country. How much is the trade? What are the project names? This is not the right way to prepare IR. How you should prepare for IR is you should, instead of focusing on facts, you should focus more on the bigger picture. You need to understand the essence of relationship. You need to understand the strategic importance of that country for India. So these are the kind of arguments that you need to prepare whenever you have to approach IR. How many of you commit this mistake? Remembering the facts, trade कितना है, कौन से प्रोजेक्ट के नाम हैं, etc. etc. How many of you commit this mistake? Students, it's okay if you accept it today. My job as a teacher is not to let you commit those mistakes again. If you don't answer, students, how would I know? No comments. Anyone? Good, Chanu, that you don't do that. Anyone else? Harshita, Simi, Kritika, VL, Yasari. Now, why are we discussing Bhutan? Anyone? What happened recently that we are discussing Bhutan today? PM was there. PM went on a 2-day visit to Bhutan, where he even attended the birthday celebration of the previous king, who is called as K4. Have you heard K4 anywhere? The word K4? Anywhere else? K4 is also it is a submarine launched ballistic missile. Okay, I was not talking about K-drama. I have no idea about K-dramas. The only thing I know about K-dramas, they are Korean dramas. Bhutan king's nickname is also, the previous king's nickname was K5, and his son is now the king, who is called as K5. Now, why was this visit important? Can anyone tell me why this visit was important? So that even after a day from the Delhi bombing, Prime Minister went to Bhutan. Why do you think this visit is important? a bit of proactiveness on your part would do a lot more for my side. Please. Good evening, Arbinda. Inauguration of hydropower project is a fact. I told you na, Kritika, you'll have to understand the bigger picture. Now Bhutan is in the middle of economic diversification. Right? It is in the middle of economic diversification. So as to diversify, it is expanding its global outreach. And historically, India is the fulcrum of Bhutan's foreign policy. So in this regard, Prime Minister's visit was very important. So as to tell them that, see, you want economic diversification, good. You want to have better relations with major global players, good. But you have to keep in mind that your fulcrum, your foundation of our foreign policy goes through India. And who would be the better ambassador of India rather than the most powerful person in the country? Understood? So this is the bigger picture, why this visit was so important. Any doubts? Any doubts, students? I'll talk about economic diversification. I'll talk about expanding its global outreach. I'm going there. To understand the present relationship between any country, what do we need to do? To understand the present development, you need some context. So in that regard, we should also understand what has been the past of India and Bhutan relationship, and understanding the past would help us understand the present in a lot better manner. Now, what is the most important foundation of India-Bhutan relationship? It was 1949 Treaty of Friendship. It was 1949 Treaty of Friendship. In this treaty, India agreed to not interfere in Bhutan's internal matters. Whereas Bhutan agreed that they will be guided by India in their foreign policy. So what does this Treaty of Friendship show you? The relations between India and Bhutan in 1949. India agreed to not interfere in Bhutan's internal matters, and Bhutan agreed to be guided by India in their foreign policy. So what does this show you? Is this in 1949 a relation of equals? I'm coming there, Chanu. Did it show you the relations between India and Bhutan in 1949 was relations of equal? No, it showed you the relations was relations of unequals. India played the role of a big brother and Bhutan agreed to become the younger sibling. This model is called as protectorate model. India had this kind of a protectorate model even in case of Sikkim when it was an independent country, and India also followed this model with respect to Nepal. Now, do you think this kind of an outlook is sustainable? Is it sustainable in the long run? Why isn't it sustainable? Because eventually a sense of nationalism would develop in Bhutan and they would not want this arrangement to continue. Right? So Bhutan, in that matter, is very mature. It said that we want this arrangement to be modified. But at the same time, we want no tensions with you. And India showed on its part pragmatism. India understood that this arrangement is not sustainable in the long run. So, in 2007, this Treaty of Friendship was amended. Don't have to write it, just pay close attention to whatever I am explaining it to you. So this treaty was amended in 2007. The word guided by India was removed. And India agreed, or both of these countries agreed to show mutual respect for each other's sovereignty, territorial integrity, and territorial integrity. Now, both of these sides also committed to each other that they won't let use of their territory in a manner which is harmful to another. That they won't let their territory to be used in a manner which is harmful for others. Vishnu, I'm coming there. Don't worry. So now, the earlier model was called as protectorate model. And this model has now become, from 2007 onwards, which kind of model? Can anyone guess the name? This model has changed to partnership model. Good. Equal model, model of equals, partnership. So Vishnu, you were asking, is there a need for a guide in foreign policy? Now what happens when a brother is small and an elder brother is a bit older? Elder brother would have an attitude, जो मैं बोलूँगा वो तुम्हें करना है. Whatever I'll say, you have to do only that. But when the younger brother grows older, don't you think younger brother would say, अब मैं जो मर्जी वो करूँगा? Who are you to tell me? I'm not that good do anymore. जो लिबिल करता था. They'll say, I want full इज्जत. Understood? So just like a younger brother who has grown up, Bhutan also demanded equal respect for sovereignty, integrity from India. And India showed strategic confidence. As the relationship matured, India showed strategic confidence. So this proved to be a key turning point in the relationship. Any doubts up till now? Now tell me, what are pillars of cooperation? Let's start with economic pillars. What is the most important resource of Bhutan that it harnesses for its economic benefit? Hydropower, good. Hydropower generation accounts for 30% of Bhutan's GDP. And who do you think buys this hydropower? Who do you think buys this hydropower? India. Because India uses this hydropower in northeast region. And the newer projects that are being developed, it is also being developed by Indian company. Second pillar is development partnership. India provides Bhutan support in health, education, ICT, infra creation, as well as digitalization. Can you give me one very important example of digitization in Bhutan's economy? Good. First instance where UPI started to operate out of India, it was Bhutan. Can there be a bigger or better example than this? India is Bhutan's largest trading partner. Third pillar is strategic cooperation. Can you give me one instance of how these countries cooperate with each other strategically? Both of these countries jointly manage border security and intelligence sharing. How many of you are from Northeast? Good, Chanu. How many of you are from Northeast, especially Assam? Anyone from Assam here? Have you heard of this organization? ULFA? Now what happened? The cadres of ULFA, they went hiding into Bhutan's forest, afraid of Indian Armed Forces military action. So India requested Bhutan to evict them so that they can be arrested when they are coming back to India. So, according to news reports, the King K4, earlier king whose birthday PM Modi went to celebrate, he led the Bhutanese army to expel them. And they, when they ran out of Bhutan, came back to India again, they were arrested. But you know what in reality happened? This is what the media says happened, or this is what government of India says happened. You know in reality what happened? Operation All Clear, good. You know in reality what happened? Yes. In reality, Indian Armed Forces, Indian Army particular, went there inside Bhutan wearing Bhutanese army uniform. And they started shelling the camps where ULFA cadres were hiding through artillery guns. So ULFA cadres also realized with this kind of precision targeting, Bhutanese army does not have this kind of capability. And saving their lives, they came back to India where they were arrested by the law enforcement agencies. So, just to ensure that Bhutan's sovereignty is protected, Bhutan gets equal respect, the official argument or official recognition is that this army was Bhutanese army led by the king. But in actual terms, it was the Indian army who expelled ULFA cadres inside Bhutan by targeting their camps via artillery guns. And one of the key areas of strategic cooperation is that India helps in training of Bhutanese army. India set up a separate camp there. Hello, Preeti. Very early in the class. Can you tell me one big problems with these three pillars? Can you tell me one big problems with these three pillars? Anyone? Anyone? Now, these three pillars of cooperation works on a transactional basis. It works on the principles of give and take. If India needs Bhutan for some strategic reason, then only India would do with Bhutan. If Bhutan needs India's assistance in development partnership, it would hear whatever we have to say. But if these three transactional aspects of the relationship end, the importance of the relationship would go down. So there must be something that is providing this relationship a strong foundation. Can anyone guess what? Yes, Chanu, you're right. Doklam was actually a plateau in Bhutan. Chinese army wanted to enter this. Instead, Indian army entered there and stopped Chinese from entering it. Good, Harshita. It is the cultural and soft power that is providing this relationship a stable foundation. Tomorrow, even if these three pillars or their importance reduce, it is culture and soft power that will help ensure stable foundation of this relationship. Any idea which aspect of culture and soft power is providing stable foundation to a relationship? Can anyone guess? I know all of you know this answer. I just want to hear it from your side. Good. It is the religion of Buddhism, which is the majority religion or state religion of Bhutan. And where this Buddhism originate? It originated in India. Piparwa relics, which is an important Buddhist relics, were given to Bhutan for exhibition. For exhibition. And there is large people to people connect. It is this cultural aspect of the relationship that has ensured stable foundation of Indo-Bhutan relationship. Now you have understood the stabilizing factor. Now tell me, what is the guiding force of this relationship? What is the guiding force of this relationship? Guess karo. Not China's aggression. Mutual trust. No, not really. Same enemy, not really. It is Bhutan's monarchy. It is Bhutan's monarchy. Now, one of the challenges that Bhutan faced was democratic transition. This happened in countries like Nepal. This happened in countries like Bangladesh. This happens in countries like Sri Lanka. Can you tell me one big difference among these three countries on one hand and Bhutan on another? Even Bhutan is a multi-party democracy. So what is the difference between these two countries? In these three countries, you will realize, one, or more parties, they are very pro-India. Whereas there are some parties that have very anti-India in outlook. So when this party is in power, India's relationship with that country gets better. Or if this party comes into power, India's relations with that country worsens. So it goes like up and down in this manner. But Bhutan's relationship is like that. And this is because of the guiding hand of Bhutan's monarchy. And even after Bhutan became a democracy, all the political parties are pro-India. And one more aspect has played an important role. That is India's stance of non-interference. Understood this? So many people said that we should have let Nepal stay a monarchy because it would have provided a guiding hand to the democratic transition. But Nepal's monarchy was very different. Nepal's monarchy was sometimes pro-India, sometimes pro-China, depending upon with whom they want to get more benefits from. Bhutan's monarchy is not like that. Now tell me, what is strategic importance of Bhutan for India? What is Bhutan's strategic importance from India, for India? Well, yes, Bhutan is not a constitutional democracy like India. It is a monarchical democracy, where ultimately king calls the shots. Bhutan still has border disputes with China. To solve this border dispute, China tried to bribe Bhutan that give me areas near Chumbi Valley and we would give you 2 times more land on your eastern border. Chumbi Valley is the valley located near our Siliguri corridor. You understand what is Chumbi Valley? Where is Chumbi Valley located? Chumbi Valley is on the western side of Bhutan's border. Let me show you. This is Chumbi Valley. This is Chumbi Valley, Bhutan's western border. And this is where Doklam Plateau is. So China said that give me this amount of land, and I will give you 2 times more land on your different side. Now, what if Bhutan agrees to this demand? Is it good for India or is it bad for India? It is bad for India. Because if China reinforces its military positions here, it could threaten India's Siliguri corridor. You know the ranges of modern artillery gun? What is the range? How far can these guns fire artillery shells? 50 kilometers. 50 kilometers. About 45 to 50 kilometers is the range of most advanced artillery guns. India's ATAGS holds the world record in the longest distance ever a artillery shell was fired. But it was done in testing, not in warlike conditions. It is 50 kilometers. 50, not 15. ATAGS fired somewhere more than 50 kilometers in Pokhran in tests and trials. So if China increases its deployment, they can threaten the security of Siliguri corridor. So Bhutan said that we won't solve this border dispute if it harms India's interest. So this proposal was rejected by Bhutan. So therefore, Bhutan's security is also vital for security, connectivity, and development of Northeast India. Now tell me, what is your learning from this discussion? What are the good aspects of relationship with Bhutan that we can replicate with Nepal, Sri Lanka, Bangladesh, and Maldives? Tell me, everyone, what is your learning of good relationship that we have with Bhutan that can be replicated with Nepal, Sri Lanka, Bangladesh, and Maldives? This kind of a question they would ask you in interview if you say IR, I find IR very interesting. They won't ask you Bhutan kahan hai. But this is a kind of question they would ask you. और प्लीज मेरा नाम मत खराब करना गलत आंसर देके वहां पर. First is, in case of asymmetric relationship, what is more important? Protectionism or partnership? You have to demonstrate sovereign equality. You have to demonstrate sovereign equality. You have to respect their autonomy. You have to respect their autonomy. And this would help you build trust and ensure stability. What is the second learning? How should development cooperation be? It should be driven by whose interest? India's interest or Bhutan's interest? Or our interest or partner's interest? It should primarily be driven by the local demand. For example, Bhutan has presence of hydropower, or it has presence of mountains, using which you can generate hydropower. Now imagine a situation if India would have asked Bhutan to construct thermal power plants. Would it improve or would it damage our relationship? It would damage our relationship. So development cooperation should not be for our interest. It should primarily be driven by local demand and priorities. Now, what is the learning in security aspects of our relationship? Tell me. Security aspect should be seen as a partnership. That is, joint interests yield better result than imposed interests. What does it tell you about dispute management? Now, it is quite common for any relationship to have dispute, right? You can't imagine a big relationship, a long relationship without dispute. Disputes are natural to happen. But how do we solve it? It determines whether that relationship continues or it breaks. So, should we confront or should we ensure pragmatism, and what should we ensure? Confrontation or pragmatism? ऐसे केसेस में whenever somebody asks you what is your learning, try to take a very idealistic approach. Don't try to be pragmatic or realist here. Okay? Learnings should always be ideal. It is our implementation of the learnings that makes the difference. Ethics के पेपर में you have to follow a good boy, आदर्श बालक वाला approach. Okay? So when somebody asks you what is your learning, always be very idealistic. And our most important learning from this discussion is cultural ties. It reinforces political ties, not the other way around. Understood? Please write this down. If you haven't written this slide, please write this down. समझ में आया? Any doubts? I would get out of your way. Quickly write it. ऐसा एनालिसिस पेपर में मिलता है? Have you ever tried learning IR this way? Is it boring or is it interesting? This particular kind of a discussion. This is how you should approach any IR topic from a bigger picture. छोटे छोटे फैक्ट्स लिखने से किसी को मजा नहीं आता है, ना तुम्हें रटने में मजा आएगा, और नीदर दी पर्सन हु इज करेक्टिंग योर शीट्स वुड एंजॉय योर आंसर. उसको कुछ ऐसा दे दो वो फ्लिप हो जाए कि भाई इसने तो अलग ही लेवल डायमेंशन में जाके बता दिया. So whenever you go to an interview, they try to cross question you on this aspect, but you stay true to your idealistic characteristics here. Like that ghoda who only sees in front. लिख लिया सबने? Everybody has written this down? Okay. Have you heard of Malabar exercise, anyone? Malabar exercise? Which countries are involved? Quad countries. Who are quad countries? Quad, QUAD. Quadrilateral grouping का short में बना दिया quad. Like original gangsta का OG बोलते हैं ना. शिप्स याद नहीं करने हैं शक्ति. How many times I've told you कौन सा शिप गया है, कितने प्लेन लेके गया है. They will never ask you such questions. India, US, Japan and Australia. Good, Chanu. 4 countries are there in Malabar exercise. Malabar exercise is a military exercise part of quad grouping. Quadrilateral grouping. Now tell me the difference between these two groupings. Have you heard of these two groupings? First of all, tell me who all are the countries of these groupings. SAARC has BBIN, MAPS. BIMSTEC has BBIN, MTS. So, these 4 countries are common in both. Bangladesh, Bhutan, India, and Nepal. BIMSTEC has MTS, that is Myanmar, Thailand, and Sri Lanka. SAARC has, in addition to BBIN, which is common, plus Maldives, Afghanistan, Pakistan, and Sri Lanka. Now, India for a long period of time now, almost a decade, is favoring BIMSTEC over SAARC. My question to you is, Why? Sri Lanka also common, but I have made this abbreviation, so this is how I remember. That is how I told you also. Maps make a better sense, right? And MTS makes a better sense. I was having trouble in adjusting S here. First, all of you are right. No troublemaker in BIMSTEC. Second, why? Yes, Chanu. India has a policy called as Act East policy. And this policy is primarily to interact more with Southeast Asian countries and also for development of Northeast region. So these are the two countries who are also part of ASEAN. So that is why BIMSTEC is like our gateway to Southeast Asia. One big problem also with SAARC, even without considering the bad relationship we had with Pakistan, was the asymmetry in economy. India was a very big economy as compared to other countries of SAARC. But BIMSTEC also has a relatively bigger economy. Not as big as India, but still a bigger economy as compared to SAARC countries. That was Thailand. So, सारे छोटू countries are more comfortable with BIMSTEC. So, one of the reasons is there is less asymmetry in economy of the members of BIMSTEC. And also they have similar economic interests. Understood? India does not want to be seen as a leader, because if India tries to be a leader, other countries try to pull them down. India would eventually lead, but it does not want to be seen as a leader. Understood? Any doubts? I have no idea about Thailand drama. Okay, everyone. We'll see each other again tomorrow. So what kind of discussions you like? Chotu, multiple articles, or one big discussion like the one we had today? Sometimes we are going to do it, not every time, because we also want to cover many articles. But sometimes when there is an important topic, we'll cover it in detail. ऊपर से नहीं कराऊंगा just for the sake of it. We'll try to mix and match both of them, whatever is in the best interest of all of you. Akshay, but to eat that pulao, we also need raita, right? रायता कौन लाएगा? Well, sometimes time does not allow us to do that. Sometimes, like this Bhutan article, it took me a lot more time, more than what I expected originally, because initially you guys weren't responding. Okay, so see each other again tomorrow. Bye bye. Have a good day.